Hello everyone, this is Crypto BitLaw back with another blockchain legal brief, and today we're going to be covering how stolen NFTs were recently recovered from OpenSea users. And I guess the long and the short of it is that the NFT Marketplace Mintable is essentially looking for the owners of three NFTs that were stolen from OpenSea users in a phishing attack last week. So before we dive in, as always, if you enjoy this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you'd like, you can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @CryptoBitLaw on Twitter. So with that said, let's dive on in, hash this out, and see what's going on in the NFT space nowadays. Okay, as we can see here, Decrypt reports that Mintable recovers three NFTs stolen from OpenSea users. They say NFT Marketplace, Mintable, is looking for the owners of three Azuki NFTs that were stolen from OpenSea users in a phishing attack last week. The report states that three non-fungible tokens, or NFTs as they're colloquially known, were stolen from users of NFT Marketplace OpenSea. They're to be returned to their owners after a rival platform, Mintable, tracked them down. According to a press release from Mintable, its team was acquiring Azuki NFTs on NFT Marketplace LooksRare for its February Floor Buster flash sale when it found and purchased Azuki's number 1178, 4176, and 1180. In an announcement, Mintable said that it would, quote, would like to return them to their previous holders. Quote, if OpenSea isn't going to make it right, someone has to, said Mintable founder and CEO Zach Burks. For some of these people, all their net worth is tied up in their NFTs, and it's horrible to have them stolen. In its announcement, Mintable identified the NFTs as being part of a $1.75 million haul of NFTs stolen from OpenSea users on February 19th. Although it was initially reported to be an exploit, OpenSea CEO Devin Finzer subsequently tweeted that the users had fallen victim to a phishing attack that, quote, did not originate on OpenSea itself. Finzer added that the users had inadvertently signed a malicious payload from an attacker, and some of their NFTs were stolen. And we can see here is a tweet from Devin Finzer, the CEO of OpenSea, where he pretty much says, I know you're all worried. We're running all hands on deck investigation, but I want to take a minute to share the facts as I see them. As far as we can tell, this is a phishing attack. We don't believe it's connected to the OpenSea website. It appears 32 users have thus far assigned a malicious payload from an attacker, and some of their NFTs were stolen. It continues, this hasn't been the first major loss of digital assets suffered by OpenSea users this year. In January, an OpenSea exploit enabled opportunistic NFT collectors to purchase rare NFTs for well below their floor price. On that occasion, the exploit affected, quote, inactive listings that hadn't been properly canceled either because the users didn't want to pay the gas fees or in most cases because they weren't aware that the old listings had remained active. In total, OpenSea users lost about $1.8 million in NFTs to the exploit, which the NFT Marketplace subsequently refunded them in Ether. Last week, a man named Timothy McKimmey, who lost his treasured Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT in the January exploit, filed a $1 million lawsuit against OpenSea. McKimmey alleges that the NFT Marketplace knew about the bug but failed to shut down and rectify it in order to carry on collecting 2.5% cut of every transaction uninterrupted. And as a side note, if you're interested in this case, the McKimmey lawsuit regarding the stolen, quote, stolen Bored Ape, we did about two videos yesterday, one doing a broad overview of it, and then another one that did an in-depth, detailed analysis of the complaint that was filed that actually jump-started that lawsuit. So if you'd like to learn more about the nitty-gritty of the legal behind what went into that lawsuit, check out those videos, and those are going to be linked down in the description below. Now, one of the interesting issues that arises from this has to deal with whether or not someone that actually buys a stolen NFT has any rights to that NFT. I know that in my jurisdiction in particular, there's something known as the bona fide purchaser doctrine. So a lot of the rights that have to deal with purchasing stolen goods are determined by whether or not the purchaser of these stolen goods was in good or bad faith when they purchased it. So that pretty much amounts to whether or not they knew the goods were stolen when they actually purchased it. And based on the bona fide purchaser doctrine in my particular jurisdiction, if the purchaser of the stolen goods was in good faith, so in other words, if the purchaser of the stolen goods did not know that the goods were stolen, then that purchaser of the stolen goods that was in good faith would own those goods outright. and the person whose goods were stolen would not have any recourse against the purchaser, right? If they were in bad faith, if the purchaser was in bad faith and knew that the goods were stolen, then the person whose goods were stolen could have recourse against the bad faith purchaser to the extent that they could either get a return of the goods or be made whole for the value of those goods, right? And so it's different from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but a lot of it, in most jurisdictions, the crux of the issue depends on this whole good faith, bad faith issue, whether or not a secondary purchaser of these goods knew that the goods were actually stolen, right? And so it's going to vary, from state to state. Each state has different laws on how they handle property rights. I know that, like I said earlier, mine in particular, we have this bona fide purchaser doctrine. I'm sure that a lot of other different states have similar basic foundational principles that have to deal with whether or not something was in good, or a purchaser was in good or bad faith. So that's one of the main takeaways from this. Also, there's been a lot of, I guess, FUD recently about OpenSea and their recourse and what they're doing about these stolen NFTs. And this kind of came up in our video yesterday having to deal with that McKinney Bored Ape lawsuit, the stolen Bored Ape lawsuit with OpenSea. And it's one of those things where in that lawsuit, this guy who had his NFT, quote, stolen, is asking OpenSea to undo it and give him back the NFT, but that's not how blockchains work. You can't just roll back the chain unless you're Ethereum and you have the DAO hack and you're going to roll back the chain and pretty much fork it and pretty much go against all of the foundational principles of why a blockchain exists to begin with. But I mean, traditionally, except in those rare circumstances, I mean, blockchains, that's not how these things work. You can't just roll back the chain. So I think that this is an interesting situation that is going to keep coming up. I'm sure that there will be many more lawsuits that have to deal with these stolen NFTs. And I'm sure it is inevitable that there will be a lawsuit filed against someone who had their NFT stolen, and then it ended up in the hands of another individual, and the person whose NFT was stolen will sue the individual who actually ended up purchasing it, and this issue is going to play out. It's going to touch on the core tenets of this property law, of these property laws that we've pretty much gone over earlier: bona fide purchaser, good and bad faith. And it's interesting because even as new and as groundbreaking as a lot of this blockchain-related digital asset technology is, a lot of the key foundations and principles of law can be applied to these new technologies, right? Same thing, different name. So I think that this was interesting. We're going to keep tabs on these situations as they continue to develop. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content that would pretty much touch on these or similar related issues. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Any topics you'd like us to cover, what you think about this issue, good, bad faith purchasers, bona fide purchaser doctrine, all that sort of legal mumbo jumbo or what have you. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and we will see you all in the next video.